any sexual performance problem is very likely not your fault, right? Like probably 99.9% of the time, not your fault.
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
It's fucking hot.
I'm trying to actively not throw up or shit my pants during this. I think I have food poisoning, which is causing me to poop, and the heat is going to make me vomit.
It's literally Thor. I have not felt this since 2019. The good thing that New York did was like during the height of COVID, they didn't give us these heat waves. So they were like, they can't handle it. They'll just, I mean, it's insane. People are just like passing out on the streets.
You guys, is this just what our lives look like forever? Don't bring kids into
I know.
this world.
I hate to open complaining, but I'm hot.
And I'm going to shit my pants.
Yes. Rena's covered in her own feces right now, you guys. Rena is actively shitting on the couch as we record.
Do you ever like get to a point where you're like, how is there anything left in me?
Yeah. In Lisbon on our vacation. Yeah, I get it. But I will say, as we record this, we're heading to Chicago this weekend. And this morning, as it was 90 degrees, feels like 101 in New York, 69 in Chicago. Ooh. A crisp 69. I can't wait to get there. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
And we'll talk about it later. But I get to my brother. I haven't seen him since December. I'm really excited. Yeah. Well, he stays on notice. You know how it is.
Listen, our brother's this week. It's fine. You know what? Every once in a while you have a little tiff with your family members.
Your brother, you guys, he loves you too much. What? I cannot relate. All right. Well, we're going to thank some of our partners and then we're going to get into it. Thanks to Babbel for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to really learn a new language on the go. Right now, save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/GGE. And thanks to HelloFresh for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Go to HelloFresh.com/GGE16 and use the code GGE16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts.
Yes, and this episode of Girls Gotta Eat is sponsored by Living Proof. Living Proof has the products to protect hair from the sun's rays and against frizz or damage too. Get 10% off your first purchase at livingproof.com/GGE and use promo code what? I feel like I want to keep this in. I've never seen them before. They're going to remember it now. Why don't you don't use promo code what? Use promo code GGELP. Okay, so I've never seen that. It looked like Gelp. So it's GGELP, Living Proof. Also Gelp. If you write it out. Okay.
You guys, we were at a show and some guy told me his name was Eric with a CK. Eric. Maybe that's not as funny to you guys.
Oh, that was a good one. Okay, and thanks to Blue Land for supporting Girls Gotta Eat. Blue Land is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastics by reinventing home essentials that are good for you and the planet. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/GGE. This just reminded me of this Tonight Show clip from like last week where Joe Coy was the guest, and Joe Coy and Jimmy Fallon, it's on, you can see it on social media, had the most real, hysterical laughing. I sent it to you.
It's really funny. Remind me of us.
So funny. Joe Coy's talking about his new movie, which is produced by one of Steven Spielberg's studios, or I don't know how his main.
I'm going to actively come out in support of Joe Coy.
Team Joe.
Team Joe.
So, Joe Coy's telling the story. He goes, Steven's studio, and he goes, I call him Steven. And then he kind of keeps rolling with it. He jokes at himself. And then Jimmy goes, have you ever met him? And he goes, no. Immediately, like the quickness, they both laughed so hard. They couldn't get through it. Like, I feel like there's been moments on stage where I'm like,
the Erica thing. Actually, I thought I was going to have to leave the stage. There was 2 moments in that show in Portland. And there was one where I was in the middle of a sentence and I was like, Ashley, I'm trying to do something right now. And you laughed so hard. I thought I was going to have to leave the stage. Well, I almost peed my pants on stage.
The time that you said, I'm trying to do something right now, you got so serious. It was like we weren't at a show on stage in front of thousands of people. You go, Ashley, stop, I'm trying to do something right now. And I caught Bella's eye, and her and I are dying laughing. I love watching friends have those moments. And it's like so funny when you see it on TV because you know that they rehearsed ahead of time. So those organic moments, and it's just reminding me so much of me and you like trying to get a story out, and that panicky feeling in your stomach where you're like, I can't stop. Like I feel it in my chest. I can't stop laughing.
Yeah, it's a joy. You guys should watch it.
Watch what?
The Joe Coy clip. It's
Oh.
adorable. It's
I
really
didn't know
feel
what
good.
We heard he's just such a doll. I mean, he was at JFL. We didn't get to meet him. We just heard he's so great, and we just want to support him and go see his movie Easter Sunday.
Yeah. You know what? Just support Team Joe.
We did it, Joe.
We've had such a good episode today. We're so excited. We're talking about erectile dysfunction, porn addiction. You guys read the episode description. We're talking about dicks.
Yes. And we'll just plug a couple things up top. Of course, Vibes Only is our other company, and we sell sex toys and accoutrement like lubes and blowjob gels. And we have all three as we speak. Vibrators in stock. The Rena is going quick again.
She won't be around.
She's fast.
Much longer. Yeah.
She's a slut.
Yeah.
She's a clit sucking slut. And then
so much.
We have our app with erotic content, and there's videos in there that's not erotic. They're helpful and they're great. You guys probably know it by this point, but some new content in there. There is a female trainer. So we kind of took the trainer story and made it a female voice, which we love. It's really, really sexy. And then Sebastian is back.
Fan favorite,
Sebastian. And the story that's new in the app is designed to go with your vibrator. So it's like you will picture that you're wearing it out in public and he's controlling it. So it really works well with the GG panty vibe, but you can obviously masturbate with any of them and it goes along with the story. And it's like so sexy.
Yes. And then a couple of cool videos this week. We have Lillian Charles. She's a stylist that was on our show and a good friend of ours. She's talking about lingerie. And then we have a great, we have a couple of videos from her. Her name's Haley. She's a photographer. She's a boudoir photographer. She's teaching you how to take better nudes and she's unbelievable. So lots of content like that. Vibesonly.com and same in the App Store.
So we're going to Chicago.
I'm so excited.
So excited.
Your best friend Kate's coming.
Best friend Kate's coming. Both of my best friend Kate's are here to be so triggered.
I am so triggered.
I have shows there and Raina's coming and we have like such a fun weekend planned.
I am really excited. We're going to do a boat. We're never not on a boat. You're going to do your first architecture tour in Chicago. I'm excited for you.
We didn't rent a private boat, you guys. We're doing this with the masses.
My brother said it's not as fun as it looks and that the swell in the lake has been really bad and it's like ocean waves and that it's like really not pleasant if you're on like a normal person sized boat.
Well, we're going to do like a private
one. He said
one.
a big one's better.
Well, we're just doing like a tour. My vision that I've always wanted, because The Breakup is one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah.
Is to go down the river.
Yeah.
So I was trying to book a boat and I was looking at the, the websites we use and trying to like book a charter, book a private boat, and they just kind of go out in the lake and they go in this like area called the Playpen, which is like where boats just anchor. It looked like a spring break vibe, which nothing wrong with that. We love that. But I want to go down the river. Like this is what I'm picturing. I want a tour guide. I kind of want to feel like I'm on The Breakup. Like you guys, one of my favorite movies of all time.
You're going to learn a lot.
And I really am so excited. That's what we're doing.
I can't wait. I mean, it's not a hot tip. If you Google things in Chicago, it's like the number one thing to do.
Just
so
do it.
Fun. I can't wait. And we have like good reservations. And I'm excited to see your show.
Such good reservations.
And I get to see my brother, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you something funny. I have a neighbor update for you.
So I've not heard about your neighbor in so long.
So if you guys have ever listened to the podcast, I started sleeping with one of my neighbors in my building at the inflection. Was it when we started the podcast or was it a year after we started the podcast? That was in 2019.
March 2019, March Madness. You were supposed to come to Rob's to watch a March Madness game. It was like Gonzaga, I think, because like Washington and Allison. Yeah, whatever it was. And you never came. Well, I guess maybe you did. Maybe you came, but in a different way.
I didn't.
You didn't.
And I never came again.
You never showed up and it was fine, but like we had this fun night. We ended up going out all night randomly. Like I remember you like out at these bars in like leggings and sneakers and like you just never showed.
I don't know if you guys even know the story. I'll just make it very brief. Emily and I were on my roof and I just moved into the building. I didn't have furniture. I had a blow up mattress. And
yes, because you moved into March.
I just moved into the building. Actually, I had a mattress on the floor and I just moved in and I went to my roof and I saw him across the roof playing guitar in his heart-shaped sunglasses. And I was like, that's what I'm doing tonight. And I was like, Emily, you have to leave. Like, she's younger titties than I do. More on that later. But yeah, she left and we fucked all night. And then we just like fucked on and off for so long. But I didn't even know where his apartment was because he like just only texted mine. And I never seen him in shoes before. I didn't have his phone number for a year. If I just ran into him on the roof.
I mean, this story of Rena's neighbor, A, we've talked about on the podcast, but B, we were telling the story at live shows and it's like, I feel like I can't even remember all the details, but the way we would tell the story and like ping pong back and forth was like true elite Girls Gotta Eat live show content. It was really fun. If you came to one of those early shows, this was before we were doing like giant theaters. Like we did this at the Bell House. Like
told this story for years.
We told the story so long.
I built my comedy on the back of this guy. Like, it was so funny. I was on the roof and he was like playing guitar and he opened his guitar case and took a harmonica out and like he slung it across his neck. It was crazy.
What did I call it? I said it looked like headgear, like braces, but a straponica. The straponica. Not the straponica.
Memories. And then I tried to repurpose him into my COVID boyfriend, and that was terrible. So I had to ghost him during the pandemic. And then our last like interaction was Joe Biden Day when Joe Biden got elected, and him and I spent the whole day together hanging out, nothing sexual at all, but went to Washington Square Park and like bopped around. And I went to this bar with him and his friends, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see this girl show up and sit in his lap, and this other girl says to me, "That's his girlfriend." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
And that was the end, right?
That was the end of our relationship.
Oh, and then you saw him with your ex.
Yes, last summer.
Yes.
So we ran into him a couple times. He's perfectly pleasant, but I've seen his ex a few times. So I was getting out of the elevator and I saw them the other day. And it's our only interactions are in the building. I don't think I've ever seen him outside of the building except for Joe Biden Day. Yeah.
Okay.
His girlfriend was in the elevator with him. And I was like, hello. I didn't look like total shit, which almost never happened. You remember for like so long, I was trying to like not look like shit in my building because I would like run into him.
That's so stressful.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So anyways, I did run into him. He's a girlfriend. They're still going strong, I guess, 2 years later. It's so crazy. But I've decided I like a different neighbor. So there's this really hot guy that lives in the building, and I've sent you photos of him shirtless on the roof. I send you all the different angles of his body.
Yeah.
There was one day I was just popping off.
I know his body pretty well. I could recognize his body in a lineup at this point.
Just like neck down. And he never talks to me. We wear the same Yankees cap on the roof all the time. And I was like, oh my God, like maybe we'll say it. But I guess everybody in New York wears that Yankees cap. So it's like not a thing. He doesn't care. I'm always just trying to get him to talk to me. And so yesterday I got into the elevator with him and we both had our laundry and I looked, oh my God, I looked so bad. It was the ugliest I've looked. I woke up just bloated. Whatever. I didn't look fucking cute.
Yeah.
And we're in the elevator and it's like silent. I'm like, how am I going to talk to me? Like, what am I going to say? And we like walk down to that laundry room together. It's like not sexy doing laundry with somebody.
Bad lighting down there.
Terrible lighting.
Like any sort of fluorescent lighting, like you couldn't, I'm exiting the situation. You can't see me like this.
And it's the only thing in his bag is like mountains of workout clothing, underwear, socks, and towels.
I can smell it.
It's it's gross.
Sweat and pussy juice.
It's so gross. Also, I have my period this week. I was just like, I was like, okay, this will be like a cute, like meet cute. And then it dawns on me that like my laundry was very small and I'm like, I won't have to like use the washer right next to him, of course. But of course there's 2 washers left. And so I'm like, how am I going to get my stuff like out of this bag next to this guy that's so cute? I get it almost all in. And I'm like, okay, thank God, like we're safe. Everything's in the in like the machine. He's not going to see anything. And I like turned the laundry bag over to like make sure the very last thing came out of it. And my period underpants just hit the top of the washing machine.
She said underpants, y'all. You said underpants at a work lunch today. Who says underpants, Rena?
What do you say?
Just not underpants.
What do you say? Panties?
Or underwear.
Period panties does make sense.
Or period. I say
period
I have no problem saying panties. Some people don't like that word. Or underwear.
You know that you like don't know stuff about yourself until somebody else tells you. I never knew I had a lisp. I lived in blissful ignorance. This was weird. I didn't know that I said plutonic weird.
Also, do you think people are listening and being like, damn, I thought she'd have in-unit laundry?
I actually thought about that. I thought about this morning.
I thought she was as successful as Ashley.
I'm glad that you brought that up because when I was thinking about how I wanted to tell the story this morning, I thought like, do I add a caveat that like some units in the building have it, mine don't?
Listen, it's old ass plumbing. You have a giant apartment and it's great. You don't have in-unit laundry.
I don't. I thought about that this morning. I have a brand new kitchen though and a brand new bathroom, so it's great. But no, I'm not like Ashley. I thought of it. No, really, literally, I thought of it. Anyways, it was just like this really awkward moment. So we did not click. I got out of there. I slammed the thing shut. I got out of there as fast as humanly possible. We've never spoken still. So I'm waiting it out.
This is so weird. Like you guys were in such close proximity.
I know, but you don't want to be in close proximity with somebody's dirty
with your dirty clothes. I know. It's so funny because I do have in-unit laundry, which I love. It is a luxury, but we have big industrial ones in the basement. So I use them for like, I throw my ruggable rug in there. If I have all my bedding, I throw it in there because mine are small. Like that's what it is. Yeah. Like it's such a luxury. Even when I go home and you're my parents and you're like, oh right, big ass washer dryer. Like you just don't have that in New York. They stack on each other and it's what it is. I'm lucky that I have both and it's not just like one machine. So I just remember this one time I was down there and I run into Rob. I think he was putting his bike down there. This is when Rob lived in the building. And he followed me into the laundry room. We're talking about some business stuff, whatever. And like we came out of the laundry room and like the building manager was there. It looked so sus. And Rob, I talk to her all the time. She's like the building manager. Her name's Elizabeth. We email a bunch and she just
fucking.
And Rob goes, we weren't fucking. And like he just said it. It was, and she laughed. I think she was with the super. We had this like funny moment as a building. Like, you know, I love my building.
You guys like love when Ashley screams like, God damn it, Rena. It's so much worse with Rob. It's just whatever he can say to make it weird, he does. I love it.
He's so loud. He's like, we weren't fucking. You know, he's like all big and loud. And she didn't see that coming.
That is so funny. I love that. I love a person that just like says whatever else is thinking.
I want to fuck in this building somewhere like public, kinda like in the stairwell before I move out, which will be at the end of the year.
Will you do the roof?
I don't think, I know where all the cameras are. I've asked the doorman, like I kind of want to fuck in the stairwell. I just think it's like kind of hot. Like you could kind of fuck on the roof, but like, I don't know where I read or saw something about people fucking in the stairwell. And I was like, that's just hot.
Can you fuck standing up really well?
It depends on the other person's height, but I'm pretty good at fucking standing up. You know me in the shower.
I know your fantasies. Also, it's like my top fantasy that somebody like walks in my front door and like pushes me up against a wall and we're facing each other and we fuck. But like in reality, it doesn't work out that well for me.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why. I just saw something recently about fucking in the stairwell and I was like, I feel like I kind of want to do that.
Okay, so
before I move out, I feel like a building bucket list.
I feel like in theory it sounds really fun, but then you start thinking like, well, what are the two options? Am I going to be on all fours on the steps?
I need to think about it. You also have a ledge, you have a railing, you also have steps. Like I think you have a lot of options. I also think I'm thinking of Sex Life a little bit on Netflix. Like they always were fucking in like hot places. Like the show opens, he's like going down or in that bar, they fuck in the subway. Like maybe I'll rewatch it and feel like logistically. But anyway, that's one thing I want to do before I move out.
I wish that for you.
I fuck in the stairwell, then I tip all the doormen, and then I'm like, bye.
Until January 1st?
Well, I'm
time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think you can get it done in the next 4 months. That'll be like a nice goal for the rest of the year.
All right, let's take a quick break and then we will get right back into it. Okay, speaking of our apartments and cleaning, Rena doing laundry. I'm sure you were using your Blue Land tablets.
I actually did the toilet tablets yesterday. I cleaned my table with it, the glass cleaner. I'll let you pop off.
I did mine. Yes, I did my coffee table too when I had to put my rug back. We love Blue Land so much, you guys, and I don't know if you know that an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away every year, which is just really bad. And plus a lot of these formulas are 90% water. It's heavy to ship, excessive carbon emissions, all the things that kind of come with it. So that they're really changing the game to not be one of these product lines that is honestly a lose-lose situation for you and the planet. So we love Blue Land products and we have an offer for you. Try Blue Land and get 15% off your first order at blueland.com/GGE. You'll love it and the planet will thank you. So these are the products that we use exclusively. Like I'm thinking of just day-to-day life. Like I am so obsessed with the dishwasher tablets. I have such a conspiracy about dishwasher detergent not working, dishwashers not working. This is such a game changer. You just stick it in the little compartment, gets your dishes so clean they don't taste and smell weird like nasty chemicals. The all-purpose cleaner, the glass cleaner, of course, and then the toilet tablets that we love, and then the laundry.
Ashley and I hate a ring around your toilet. Let me see a ring around someone's toilet. I'm like, I judge you.
No. Oh my God. So they have this tablet refill solution. It takes up 10 times less space than a traditional bottle. So you have these forever bottles and you fill them with warm water, you drop in the tablet and you just get cleaning. Refills start at $2 and you don't have to buy a new plastic bottle every time you run out. And then like we said, some things are just straight up tablets. So the toilet, the laundry, the dishwasher, and they have cleaning sprays, hand soap. I use their hand soap as well. Everything's made with ingredients you can feel good about. So their Clean Essentials Kit has everything you need to get started. Blue Land products come in refreshing signature scents like iris agave, fresh lemon, eucalyptus mint. And for a limited time, their hand soap is getting a summer upgrade with 3 new scents: strawberry rhubarb, citrus patchouli, and coconut palm, which we're obsessed with. So just check it out. We love the starter kit and we really think this is going to change the game for you guys. We cannot recommend them enough. It actually might make you look forward to cleaning. So right now you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/GGE. That's 15% off your first order of any Blue Land products at blueland.com/GGE.
Yes, us, guys, and it is summertime. I have a great rec for you guys to make all your travel better. So whether you guys are going abroad or you're staying domestic, if you want to immerse yourself in a new culture, it is literally the perfect time to start Babbel. It is a language learning app. It has sold more than 10 million subscriptions, so widely used. And thanks to Babbel's addictively fun and easy bite-sized language lessons, there's still time to learn a new language before you reach your destination. So Ashley and I traveled all over this summer, and it was really helpful to have like a little bit of Spanish even and a little bit of Italian just to talk to people. I feel like you get better service. I feel like it's respectful to the culture. It just helped me to get around day to day. It made my trip better. And this is so digestible. It's so easy. So you only need 10 minutes with Babbel to complete a lesson, and you can start having real life conversations. They say in a new language as early as 3 weeks. Lots to choose from. They offer 14 different languages. There's Spanish, French, Italian, and German. They have a great speech recognition technology, so it'll help you to improve things like your pronunciation and your accent. And what I really like that they do is they include all these things in addition to the lessons that you can access. So there's podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. Plus it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. So you guys can start learning it today. We'll give you a discount. Right now, save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/GGE. That's babbel.com/GGE for up to 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life.
Okay. Kim and Pete, listen, I'm not a big like Kardashian fan or even celebrity gossip fan, but this shook me.
This one hurt. I'm devastated.
You were devastated. I just was so shocked.
I really like them as a couple. I thought he was like really good for her. I know there's like a crazy age disparity, and I
love that though. I loved it because of that. Like she's in her 40s, and he, you know what I mean. Like I love to see that. I'm like, you should see me, you guys, googling age gaps in couples because
she's 41. I feel like a lot of people did not know he was 28. He's really young,
so young.
She has 4 kids, and I think they like broke the mold, like in terms of women being like we get messages from women that are like, I'm just dating for the first time with kids and I'm 40 and I don't know how to do it. And it's like, well, I mean, listen, we don't all look like Kim Kardashian, but
or have the money and the resources. Yeah,
but you know, whatever. You could do it too. I loved him as a couple. I liked what he did for her. She just seemed happier and lighter, and I just think he's awesome.
Well, I have a question for you, but I
have a couple.
Wait, let me get to it. I thought they were obsessed with each other.
Me too.
So I know what you see on the internet isn't real. And I know the more a couple looks like they're obsessed with each other, sometimes it means they're about to break up. But this really surprised me. This was shocking to me. And this was on a Friday, late afternoon, early evening. And I go to my shows. I had 4 shows at the Stand. I had the 8 o'clock, the 9 o'clock, the 10 o'clock, and the 11 o'clock show. And I mean, I don't know. I think everyone's on their phone all the time, and it was my entire Instagram feed. I think I saw it at like 6 p.m. So now it's an 8 p.m. show. I know people hadn't been on their phone since 8 because they're in the show. I go on at 9 and break the news to, I would say 95 of the 110 people in the room.
It's the most jealous I've ever been. Nothing feels better than being the first person to tell somebody gossip. Someone told me. I didn't even get to break the news.
Rena, I go up, you just try to get in my head for a second. I go up thinking everyone knows, and I'm just going to be like, so, you know, Kim and Pete broke up and like make a couple jokes. People, the gasps.
You are so... I know. I feel this in my vagina. I'm turned on by this.
I know. And then I'm like, surely by the 9 o'clock, people will know. And still, I go upstairs, I do the 9 o'clock show. I bet 75, 80% of the room didn't know. It was insane. And then, but I was like, let me just keep doing this all night. 10 o'clock, half people knew. And then I started making jokes about Martha Stewart. So I want to say when I started talking about Pete Davidson, Martha Stewart, I was the first person that had mentioned it. Now it's all over the internet. I made a TikTok about it. You guys can follow me on TikTok, Ash Hess. I'm very proud of this TikTok. And then I didn't even bring it up at 11 because I was like, people know. I put this TikTok up. I did this whole thing of like, who's going to date Pete next? Like who's confident and rich and can take a big dick and all this stuff. And I panned to Martha and a picture of him and Martha Stewart. And everybody in the comments, kind of like whether they finished watching the TikTok or not, just thought I was saying like, who should Pete Davidson date next? Who would date Pete Davidson? And everyone was like, I thought you were going to say Rena. And I think everybody goes Rena. All the comments are, I thought you were going to say Rena this, Rena that. And I was like, Rena?
Am I about to date Pete Davidson?
But then I was like, do you even care? What do you think about Pete? Do I know this?
First of all, I told you a couple days ago, I am recently very attracted to him.
You said he was like, you said he was yoked up.
His body is getting yoked up. You know, I love tattoos. Also, we share a lot of things in common. First of all, we're the same agent. Second of all, we have a lot of very good friends. Giulio Gallerati, who came on our show, who's one of our best friends. He's not my best friend.
Ricky Velez?
Yeah, Ricky Velez. We have a lot. Chris Stefano is living at Pete Davidson's house right now. No, he put on Instagram today. It's a whole thing.
I was like, like, are you
no. He's broadcasting Chrissy Chaos from Pete Davidson's living room.
Oh, didn't know. Okay.
He said that Pete doesn't know if Pete Davidson's coming home or not. I would like to break the Pete Davidson interview. I'd like him to come on this show and talk about the breakup. Yeah. I would love that. And then we're going to start dating. I could take a big dick.
Listen, not like I can. No, I'm kidding.
We did that episode with that guy that we never aired, and he said he had an enormous dick, and I had no problem putting that whole thing in my mouth. I swallowed it whole.
All right, listen, I think what I'm going to say, I think I'm about to make a true statement. I can take a bigger dick in my vagina, and Rena can take a bigger dick in her mouth.
Ashley, you're a foot taller than I am. Of course, your body cavity can take a bigger dick.
I have a longer vagina. I remember that girl called me that long vagina on Instagram.
Also, I will say you are less willing to deal with discomfort than I am. If there's a bad smell, you will not be around it. If you are hot, like I can tolerate it like 3 more minutes longer than you, so I can choke a little longer.
For sucking it.
That's
I mean,
that's what I was getting at.
I've just, have slept with guys with huge dicks. I mean, the guy I lost my virginity to, I like think about like what I thought was normal at that time. It was like the hugest dick, and you too. But I'm not out here even saying that's what I want, but I'm kind of making a joke. I think most things you can handle with the right amount of lube, of juiced up lube, which is our lube, which does have the best, sweetest little tropical scent.
People love it. I will say, I thought that the blowjob gel would be the best seller, but the lube is the best seller.
Our lube is superior in every way. I have used so much lube. Like I said this before, I'll reiterate it. I was so worried that our lube just would somehow not be as superior as the most superior lubes. It is next level. I'm obsessed with the light scent. It is obviously totally it's totally natural, but it has a little bit of a fragrance. We don't even say it's fragrance because it's so subtle. Obsessed with it. Like, I feel like you really get all juiced up, like you're going to have a little fragrance in the bedroom that's going to just make you even more turn on. But anyway, yeah, Rena, you can call dibs. Like, I'm not interested in this.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You can call dibs because we fought over a guy last week.
Oh my God. But you should read the comments. Everybody the video didn't take off like I thought it would, but I still feel like I broke this and I called Martha Stewart before anyone else.
I love his tattoos. I'll be here for him in his time of need.
Do
you think I'm famous enough for him? Probably not.
Well, maybe he's going to go less famous.
Yeah, I'm ready for Pete Davidson to dumpster dive with me. That's what I would like.
You have plenty of people that...
I feel like he's got a good dick. Not just long, thick. I feel like there's like a girth. Do you think our agent
I think there's a whole energy about it. Like, I believe it.
Do you think like...
dick size aside.
Do you think on his other collarbone he'll get a tattoo that says, "My girl's a podcaster"?
Oh my God, absolutely. Maybe he'll just... he'll just cover up lawyer with podcaster.
He'll just cross it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll make me feel good. We can get tattoos together. I'm like really feeling this for myself.
Okay, Pete, if you're listening. Yeah.
So I have been sort of flippantly discussing my breast reduction and how they're too big, but in all honesty, yeah, my breasts, I asked for a much smaller size. I wanted a C cup. I woke up with double Ds, and they say you can't really get it redone for 6 months because your breasts do change quite a bit. The swelling goes down and just the feeling changes, but all that has gone down and they're still a double D. I mean, I have enormous boobs. I don't look like I had a breast reduction. And I was at the doctor yesterday and he was showing me old photos from before he did it. And he was like, they are significantly smaller. They are. So I will give that to him. They are smaller.
Significantly.
But not, I mean, I think I went under the knife at like an E cup and I have a double D.
Also, like we've said this before, like cup sizes are like hard to gauge and they change even like country to country, brand to brand. But like, so you just know what it looks like and what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. And my clothing doesn't really fit that much differently. So I know.
Yeah, you can still wear those bikinis. Like, you shouldn't be able to wear your old bikinis. You just shouldn't.
Totally. The change is not different. So I was waiting and I'm going to redo the breast reduction. So I'm really excited. This has just been hanging over my head for so long.
Yeah.
I talk about it constantly. It's just always bothering me. And I did do research. I know other people that have had to get it done twice. Some people, you just can't take out so much tissue every time. I would still recommend getting a breast reduction if you want it. The experience was good for me and the scars are not bad. So I'm doing it sooner than I really thought. Gosh. I like couldn't believe it. I was like looking at some dates and they were like, how about August 24th? So I was like, oh my God, can I really do this? So I scheduled it. So on Wednesday, August 24th, I'm going to get it done. And I'm so excited because we're going to be Dewey the whole weekend with like our girlfriends the weekend before. We'll do a hurrah, say goodbye to them. We drive back Tuesday morning and then I'm going to get surgery Wednesday. I can't wait.
I just want you to get it over with. I'm so glad it happened like that. I feel like that's one of those things. I mean, that was when I did my nose. They were like, we have Monday available. I was like, okay.
That
like
was
it just
crazy.
Like, it just get it over with. And then, you know, we were going to be in LA in mid-September. So you'll be totally fine by then. Yeah. Like that, you know, you want to be sure you want to feel like you want to fly and be in, you know, groups of people and stuff like that.
I'm thrilled. And I don't like waiting for stuff like this because it's just an opportunity to panic more. So the other option was like end of October.
No.
It's just like, why not get this done? I'll probably be able to go out for Labor Day. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm like thrilled. I know you guys have like been along for the journey. People message me a lot. Can you talk about this more? I will never say the guy's name who did it because I mean I've complained about him a lot. So I don't want to. I'm never ever going to do that. But just do your research. That's all you can ever do. And that's it. So I am really excited, and we'll do a couple more episodes, and I'll update you after the surgery.
I'm so glad you're doing it. We recently went on 2 Barstool podcasts, Chicks in the Office, which is released, which was so funny. And then KFC, I don't know when that's coming out. Probably the same week as this comes out because it didn't come out today as we record. And we had the funniest conversation about this. Like, remember we were saying that he's a boob guy and he just didn't want to take much off.
It's the hardest I've laughed in so long where we were like, I was like, I would like a smaller size. I forgot to make the joke.
I think Kevin said, I'm just going to do a little off the top.
I'm doing a little off the top. I was like, I want them smaller. And he was like, this won't come up again. We're going to do what I want.
But anyway, you guys should listen to that when it comes out. It was really, really funny conversation.
Yeah. You and I have been really making the rounds. It's been fun. I'm also on Remy Casimir's podcast last week, Jared Freed's podcast.
I know you've been doing a lot.
Yeah, it's too much. I'm doing too much. So that's it. So that's my update. You guys have been asking. A lot of you have been asking. So that's what I'm doing.
Yay. Okay. Round 2.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. Rex.
Bama Rush TikTok.
I was like, listen, Ashley was home most of the weekend. We were here this weekend.
I was on TikTok all weekend.
You hated it. I know you did.
I hated it?
You hated being here all weekend. I hated it.
I don't know. I loved relaxing. That's why I have all these recs. I've been like watching a lot. I just really relaxed. I mean, I have those 4 shows Friday night. I really like expended a lot of energy. And then I just chilled all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I would never look at my screen time. I would never. I thought it was 17 hours a day. I stayed on TikTok. I got so invested in the Bama Rush. I was doing my own story about my sorority experience and all this stuff. So listen, I hate Alabama. I went to Clemson. It's what it is. Also, there are things about the system that are problematic, but it's fun to watch. And I was in a sorority. I rushed, and it's just, we're all invested in this. Like, it's fucking fun to watch the outfits of the day. And rumors HBO is doing a documentary. Some of the girls are like mic'd up as they go through it. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it's just funny when I did the story on my Instagram about it, and people like from other countries are like, what the fuck? They don't even know what the word rush is. People were like, can you explain it first before you like go down this road? But anyway, Bama Rush TikTok, obviously, even though Rush is probably over at this point that the episode comes out, but whatever, go back and watch. Also, Love on the Spectrum US. So
new one?
Love in the Spectrum was always Australia, and this is the first US, I think. Yeah. I love it. I love the first season. The second season I didn't love as much, and this I love.
Okay.
And then Rap Shit is Issa Rae's new show. It's on HBO Max. So it's about these 2 women that are starting like a rap group. Okay. I need you to watch it and see if they remind you of me and you. Like, one is taller and one is kind of the one that's like, okay, we're going to do this thing and we have to stay on task and we have to record. And the other one's just like shorter. She's like says more wild, crazy stuff. Like, I don't know. We both do that. But there's a scene where they hear spoiler alert, but they hear their song, their first single in 11 in Miami. So they hear it in the strip club and they go fucking crazy. It felt like the first time we heard our podcast on Apple. Oh my God. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I swear to God, it's me and you if we were 2 women rappers in Miami.
And you guys don't know this, but like every time Ashley and I go on a podcast with other female dudes, so like Almost 30 and Chicks in the Office, and then we had the girls from Cocktails on, we had Horrible Decisions. I'm always like, which one's the Rena? Which one's the Ashley? Like,
yes.
Always.
Yeah. So if you loved Insecure, I think you'll like it. If you weren't thrilled with Insecure, I don't think that you'll like it. I mean, somebody once was like, I hate Insecure. I hate all these characters. I was like, okay, Karen, maybe
it's
this,
the best show.
Whatever.
You guys are crazy.
So I started, there's 4 episodes. They're being released every Thursday. You can binge 4. You can binge 5 now on HBO. Love Rap Shit. And then I've been into The Bachelorette.
I've been watching Jared's recast, but I think I'm actually going to watch.
I'm in. And it's brutal. Like, they came out, we're not going to pit these women against each other. And it's like, they're not trying to, but maybe they are. I mean, it's for good TV, but they're competing.
It's
now
behavior. here.
Now they split the guys down the middle, but it feels like the guys like Gabby more and Rachel's guys keep leaving. And she's like, I'm embarrassed. Like, why am I here? Like, the guys are rejecting me. One guy, did you see this, Rena? One guy left Rachel's team and went to Gabby's side.
So bad.
Like, it's a really common theme that she doesn't feel as wanted as Gabby. And I hope that she will. And I do feel like she has one guy that I'm like loving for her.
I mean, I feel like you sit there and you're like, how could they not have expected this was going to happen? It's like, they absolutely expected this was going to happen. It's like, it's the best thing producers could ever hope for. It's drama. You can't stop talking about it. It's wild.
Two teams, you know, like it's
two women pitted against each other.
That meme, it was like, we're not going to pit them against each other. And then the thing said like Team Gabby. Like they literally write that out.
All right, well, maybe I'll watch that tonight. Now that I have food poisoning.
I do like it. And then this guy that we met in Cancun is on it.
It's on the show. Can you say who? I don't want to say it. You can say if you want.
I can say, yeah. Let's say it.
Nothing happened.
We met this guy, Zach, in Cancun. It's just in the pool.
Slid in Ashley's DMs.
Zach DM'd me late night and nothing happened. I had already taken my makeup off. It's a no for me. And
absolutely not. I'll never get back.
We DM'd a couple times after that. Nothing ever came of it. And then I saw he was going on The Bachelor.
That is so funny. You said he does not look the same on television as he did in the pool that day.
I just think that I think he looks attractive on television. I think that everyone looks better in person than they look on TV. If you see someone on TV or you meet someone in person that you've seen on TV, you're like, you're so much hotter than I expected.
I'm way hotter in person. Just so you guys. I started Love Island. So I'm 2 episodes into that. Listen, what?
I just like, I'm just so sick of being pressured to watch a show. And
I'm not going to pressure you. I'm 2 episodes in.
Too much.
So I can't really evaluate it. I'll let you know what I think. I too stayed here this weekend. I watched a lot of stuff. So on Netflix, I feel that there's just like this trend in the world. I mean, whatever, it's how TV gets made, but like there's 2 documentary series that I watched and they're both 3 episodes, an hour long, and you could have dwindled both of them down to 20 minutes. They like keep teasing that this like crazy thing happened and then you're like, oh, is that it? So DB Cooper, where are you? I think you'd really like this. It's a 3-part series. So DB Cooper is the only like aviation hijacking that has never been solved. This guy hijacked a plane with $200,000, which today is equivalent. I think this is like $1.5 million. Okay. Jumped out of the plane and he has never been found, but the money has been found throughout the years. And no one knows who DB Cooper is. There's like festivals about DB Cooper. He didn't hurt anybody. Like he didn't harm any of the passengers.
What? No, I will lose sleep over this. When that Malaysian flight, I couldn't grasp it. For so long, I was losing sleep over it. I was like, I can't understand it, how they can't find this fucking plane.
They never found this guy. I want to say it was in 1971. It was around then. So aviation was just, different. Planes get better as the years go by. But really interesting story. He jumped out of a plane. Nobody knows who he is. They never found him, but they've found the money over the years. So like he's probably still alive, like spending the money.
That's wild.
He's probably dead at this point. But so that's 3 episodes. It could have been 20 minutes. That's okay. And then Trainwreck Woodstock 99.
What?
I love a festival, like Fire Festival doc.
Yeah,
it's incredible. So it's a 3 episode about Woodstock 99. And it's like all the MTV VJs were there. Like
when they redid it in 99. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like a dumpster fire. They just didn't have enough like food,
Are you serious?
water.
How did I know? No, but I feel like my Netflix For You page is like not hitting.
Just came out this weekend. Trainwreck Woodstock 99. It was just like a disaster.
I mean, 99, iconic year. The decade right before 9/11. Like these were, if you were lucky enough to be like a person in the world, like teen, 99, man, I could think about it forever. Remember Y2K?
I was thinking about it when I was watching
Remember we were like, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
I was at this New Year's party, like kind of low key hoping like the world ended and I didn't have to go to school.
I know. That's what everybody was hoping. Though it's funny. So you watch it and you'll love it because it's so nostalgic.
VJs, I can't wait.
The music was great. You watch all the sets, like Sheryl Crow's set. Jewel's on stage. Bush. Gavin Rossdale, old school Gavin Rossdale, the Red Hot Chili Peppers were butt naked on stage. So it was really good. But all episodes were like, and then the anxiety was mounting. You could tell that like all of the crowd, the energy was terrible. You could tell something was about to happen. And it goes on for 3 episodes. And then like, yeah, the festival didn't end in the best way. Like there was like a fire and they like broke a lot of the stuff, but it's not It wasn't Fire Festival.
I know. That's the thing. I feel like they're always trying to recreate it. And like, there's a lot of, like, you know, stuff went down at Lovers and Friends. They probably could have exaggerated to make a documentary about the festival I went to that I fucking loved. Like, there was a Tomorrow World in Atlanta, and it was pretty crazy. People were stranded on the street. It was this whole nightmare, but it's like nobody got scammed. Like, I do feel like nothing has truly been Fyre Fest level.
No. I mean, also, this was in the middle of nowhere. I think it was 150,000 people at this festival. Like, it's not going to be a luxury festival. It's going to be a bunch of dirt and disgusting. And they were like, people were passed out. It's like, yeah, have you ever been to Lollapalooza? Have you ever been to any festival?
Ever been to Bonnaroo?
Everybody's passed out. Not that that's good. I'm just saying, like, it's not
well, I can't wait to watch it.
So there's that. My last rec is Industry on HBO. So somebody told me I would love this because I love Succession and I love shows where like there aren't characters that you necessarily root for. But the premise of this show is that there's a bunch of graduates like from different walks of life, and they're competing for like a limited number of available slots at this financial firm. So it's a lot of finance stuff that makes no sense, but a ton of sex, so much sex. And I will say, what I love about this show, there are so many scenes of women getting their pussies eat.
Love it.
Many, not guys getting blowjobs, just scene after scene after scene of women getting their boxes eaten. And honestly, I love it. I feel like it's progress.
Yeah. I love it.
There's 2 seasons. The second one just came out. So I think that's why maybe the first one's getting a lot of hype. So I'm making my way through the first.
Okay.
None of these 3 things are the greatest TV I've ever watched in my life, but really entertaining.
Okay.
Decent.
A lot of recs for you guys.
Those are my recs.
Okay. Well, we are going to get into our guest and our episode. Just going to run through the rest of our partners. I'm so excited to talk about Living Proof always. I truly can't imagine my life without Living Proof. You guys know this is what we use in our showers, in our homes, and we have all the travel size products to take with us on the road. Like, truly couldn't live without it. And I mean, in the summer, you know, you're wrecking your hair, whatever it is, whether you're in the pool, you're more time in the sun. So there's just more chances for your hair to get in a little bit of trouble, frizz, all the things, damage. The thing with Living Proof is that they know there's no one size fits all solution for hair types and textures. So whatever you guys have going on, you have frizz, lack of volume, curl definition, you can take the online quiz. It can analyze your specific hair concerns and styling goals. And then they have AI powered technology to help customize your hair care routine. You can also just get on the site and kind of figure it out for yourself. But I love a quiz, love to talk about myself, love to talk about my hair. And a lot of the products are laced with UV protection. So Living Proof's Restore Perfecting Spray and Restore Repair Leave-In each strengthen and protect hair from UV rays, while the No Frizz Instant Defrizzer and No Frizz Humidity shields hair from humidity in the sun's rays. So really everything you guys need for the summer. I mean, I use a dry shampoo, I use the mousse, I use the Perfect Hair Day, and I use the full line. So I do need more volume in my hair, so I'm obsessed with that. But I love all the stuff that has the UV protection. And again, the Perfecting Spray is really great too. So, and anybody with frizz, this will save your life. I mean, I've gotten it for my mom and my sister-in-law, and they love it too. Rena loves a mask. She loves the Restore Repair Mask. And of course, the Humidity Shield. All this stuff is everything you need for the summer and beyond. So protect your hair this season with Living Proof. Visit livingproof.com/GGE and use code GGELP to get 10% off your first purchase. That's livingproof.com/GGE, code GGELP for 10% off your first purchase. Livingproof.com/GG, code GGELP. I love it. I love this code.
You guys know that we love talking about HelloFresh and how easy it is and how good it is. We have so much fun cooking with HelloFresh. It's America's #1 meal kit. You can go to HelloFresh.com/GGE16 and use the code GGE16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. I mean, what don't I love about this? So I've been using it for years. They deliver pre-portioned ingredients. The recipes are so easy to use. They're quick. Any skill level is great. So if you're an expert chef or you've barely ever cooked, they're going to make it super simple by breaking it down. They send you photos of the recipes. It's great for a date night. It's great for friends. There's so many breakfast, lunch, snack, dessert options. They have 20-minute meal options if you want low carb, if you want something good for your kids. Everything I've ever made from them is fantastic. And it's really good for summer. So if you're heading out for vacation, you can update your delivery address to get HelloFresh at your vacation destination. You can also make your schedule a little bit more flexible so you can skip a week if you need to, pause, things like that. It's really simple to use. They have great summer recipes. If you want to do like the grill on a warm night, they have a cookout collection. Their recipes are like melty Monterey Jack burgers. You can look through their menu. The photos are beautiful. And I literally, every time I make something, I feel like such a chef. And I'm just looking right now what they have. Warm battered shrimp rolls, perfect for summer, chicken sausage stuffed peppers, beef flautas supreme. We've had bulgogi meatballs, all kinds of bowls, every type of food you could imagine. It's really just so fantastic. So we'll let you guys check that out and we'll give you a discount. Go to hellofresh.com/GGE16 and use the code GGE16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts.
Okay.
All right, guys, we are so excited to have an all dick focused episode today. We have a fantastic guest for you. She is an associate professor, director of female pelvic medicine and reconstructive surgery. Her YouTube boasts over 1 million subscribers, 1.2 as of this morning, and over 160 million views, where she discusses urology, sexuality, bladder health, so much. It's really so phenomenal. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Rena Malik.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I love your podcast, and what you guys do is just so amazing.
Oh my God, thank you.
Well, amazing.
You're welcome.
Work on the YouTube. Jeez.
Oh, thank you.
So impressive. So we loved diving in.
Yeah, I was like, Ashley, her topics are so good. Ashley's like, should we have her back?
Yeah, like I guess we're having to do an all dick today, Rena, but we'll have you back for some pelvic stuff later.
Absolutely.
But we're so happy to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what your focus is.
Yeah, so I am a urologist. So what that is essentially someone who studies the genitourinary tract, and we do both the medical and surgical management of that. So we do surgeries, we take care of lots of different problems in that area, including your sex life. But I focus in my clinical practice on female pelvic medicine and sexual medicine. So things that problems like for women, prolapse, incontinence, fistulas, weird sort of reconstructive issues. And then for men, sexual function, incontinence, bladder issues, and for both like overactive bladder type things. And then my YouTube is really just my service to the world, providing urologic education. And it's been such an amazing journey for me. And I love trying to answer everyone's questions that people are like too nervous to ask their doctor about. And so that's been really fun.
You go through a huge range of stuff. Like how long should people be having sex for? And is the G-spot real? And I mean, it's fantastic. I really encourage people to look at it.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Are you from Maryland originally?
No, so I'm from Buffalo, New York originally.
Okay.
And then I trained in medical school in New York City at NYU, and then residency in Chicago, fellowship in Dallas. So I've really been all over.
All over. Yeah, amazing. I am looking for a primary care doctor. So if you know anyone hot in New York, just even if they're out of network, just let me know.
I'm looking to date a primary care doctor.
That's what I'm saying.
You know anybody?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought
if she was a hot doctor.
Okay.
That like
Got
could
it.
be, eligible, just something, just put
Well,
it out
then you
there.
can't go see him as a patient because then
right.
he won't be able to date you.
He'll know too much.
Well, what if he just like does the checkups at home? You guys like play doc. You're like, can we play doctor? And he'll think it's sex. And you're like, no, I need you to like check my blood levels.
Do some blood work. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, we have you here today to talk about erectile dysfunction, and I have like been personally like obsessed with this topic for quite some time. The reason being is that I've had a pretty active sex life. I have for a long time. I don't know why I'm going down this road, but recently I've experienced this quite a bit with partners, either premature ejaculation or being able to stay hard for long periods of time, but not come at all. So no climax whatsoever. And I've been seeing this more and more and hearing more and more from people that this is really something that's happening a lot. Not that it never used to, but I see a rise in it in my life and in others. So I was so curious about it. We wanted to talk to you about it.
Yeah. And I would just start by saying those are all different things, right?
Yeah,
so like when you go see your doctor, if you do, or your partner, you want to encourage them to see their doctor. It's important to differentiate those because there's erectile dysfunction, which is the inability to get an erection that's sustainable for penetrative intercourse. And then there's premature ejaculation, which is when you ejaculate before you or your partner desires. And there's a whole fancy scientific definition, but really like if you're not happy, it's premature. And then lastly, it's delayed ejaculation, which you talked about, where it's difficult to climax. And all of those have different treatment options and different things available to help with those.
So can we maybe start with the two different types? There's
I just think of the Sex and the City episode of like when they put the thing around Trey's dick to see if he actually like couldn't get hard or it was like a mental thing. So can we just talk about the difference? I mean, I think
physical versus
mental. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So erectile dysfunction is, if you think about it as a whole, right, it has to have a bunch of different factors. So there's the medical side, which is you got to have good nerves, you got to have good blood flow, and you got to have good hormones, right? But then there's a psychological component, and that's a huge component, right?
Yeah.
And that Sex and the City episode where she puts the stamps on his penis is actually like a real test. And so, and so like there's a medical version of it, but essentially it's to see if you're having nocturnal erections, which by the way is completely normal. So if you have wet dreams or nocturnal erections, that's completely normal. It's not weird. It's not like there's something wrong with somebody. That's a normal physiologic thing. And it's actually a good sign. It means your penis is functioning well. It has good blood flow and it's going to function well in the bedroom if all the psychological stuff is intact. So generally speaking, that psychological stuff can be really damaging, right? There's a lot of anxiety for people, performance anxiety that can manifest in the bedroom. And so that can lead to poor performance, right? You can't get it up. And then that cycles because you're stressed the next time about keeping it up. And then it's like this vicious cycle. You keep not performing, you keep getting more anxiety, you keep not performing. And it just can be horrible and extremely debilitating for the partner who's trying to have erections. And so that is a real problem and can cause true erectile dysfunction, but it's not that there's anything biologically wrong with the person.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you talked about the anxiety about not performing. We have a good friend who talks about his erectile dysfunction. He talked about it on our show. And he said even the thought in his head that he might not get hard makes him not get hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, we want to focus more on that. I feel like that's probably more of what we're seeing, but just in general, erectile dysfunction physically can't get hard. Is that a prevalent thing? And how do you work through that?
Yeah, so it depends on, erectile dysfunction is very common. So if you think of the whole population of men with penises or people with penises, right, you're going to see erectile dysfunction in about a third of people, right?
Okay.
And then if you see how many people are bothered by it, it's maybe a fraction of that, but like maybe half of that, right? And it's more common in older guys, right? 70 plus, it's almost half of guys have erectile dysfunction, but not all of them are bothered by it. They find other ways to make them happy, or they just don't care anymore. Their partners are not as well, and sex is not a big priority. Whatever. I hope I'm still, very active at 70, but who knows? But in the middle age group, it's probably about 30%. And then when you look at younger guys, like 40 and younger, it's probably somewhere between 10 to 20% of people who have problems with erections.
Okay. And is it a specific type? I mean, there's a bunch of different types that we focused on, which is being able to get hard, but not climax, being able to not being able to get hard at all. Is there something that you're seeing that's more prevalent, more common, or is this sort of a mixed bag?
And when we say erectile dysfunction, I mean, to be quite honest, I've definitely dealt with guys with performance anxiety, but I've never dealt with a guy with actual erectile dysfunction, couldn't get hard, things like that. I mean, outside of, you're drunk, whatever it is. Is there a world in which you can't ever get hard? Or when you say erectile dysfunction, it's just like, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, or are there like dicks that just won't do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a spectrum. So I'll answer both your questions.
We just asked like 10 questions. I'm sorry. I asked a question. Ash was like, what I want to ask.
You guys are so excited. I love it. So there's a spectrum of erectile dysfunction. You can have mild erectile dysfunction, meaning that like you're able to get an erection that's sufficient for intercourse, but sometimes you can't. It can be moderate, where it's more than half the time you can't. And then it can be severe, where you can never get an erection, right? So it does happen. And it depends, again, on a number of factors. Usually the severe erectile dysfunction is in men who have high blood pressure, diabetes, like really a lot of other medical issues that are causing blood flow to be really decreased to the penis.
Got it.
And then to the other question, so in terms of what's more common in my clinic, it's erectile dysfunction. But if you look overall, like epidemiologically, it's probably premature ejaculation. It's just not as often reported, or even those people probably don't go to the doctor quite as often, right, to discuss their premature ejaculation.
Okay. I didn't even really consider it ED until I read something on it about it like recently.
And then what do you do?
Well, so it depends what you're dealing with, right? So like I said, for erectile dysfunction, difficulty getting erections, right? Or sustaining them. First of all, like I said, there's 4 components. Psychologic, that's not going to be treated necessarily with medications. It's more like cognitive behavioral therapy, seeing a sex therapist, working on kind of sensate focus activities. So trying to do non-penetrative activities with your partner so that the stress is off when you're having sex with them, and sex can be other things, right? Not just penetrative, but while you're being intimate, that they're not feeling stressed about performance. And as they get to really focus in on feeling like being mindful and knowing what they're feeling and appreciating that and enjoying that, then they can also be more mindful when having sex, right? And not be focused on the anxiety. So psychologically, that's usually, there's like a whole host of things, but seeing a sex therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist can be helpful. You can take a low dose of tadalafil, which is also known as Cialis, every day to help boost blood flow. And for some guys, I'll use that to be like, hey, try this. It may help increase your confidence enough so that the anxiety is gone, and then you can stop taking it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then for medical erectile dysfunction, the most common is vascular or neurogenic. And the vascular is by far the most common. And for that, you can try medications like sildenafil, tadalafil, which is Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, all those medications. You can take them either on demand, like right before sex, or like an hour before sex, or you can take them like a low dose daily, same thing, Cialis. And then there's other options. There are things that you can put in the urethra or P-tube that can help. There are vacuum erection devices, which you see, advertisements for, but they do work. Like they really are helpful. And then lastly, there's injections that you can teach men to give themselves in the penis. And then those help with erections. And those are a little bit quicker than the medications, a little bit more powerful. And then lastly, there's surgeries as well.
Okay.
So you also mentioned hormones. And I know as men get older, as you said, this changes. So is testosterone a part of this? I guess that's sex drive too, but just kind of getting older, can't get as hard, can't sustain erection as long. And they're just doing more testosterone. Is that?
Absolutely. So the other cause of erectile dysfunction is hormonal. You can have multiple different causes. You can have low testosterone and you can have vascular problems. And to be honest, just because you don't have diabetes or high blood pressure doesn't mean you can't have a vascular problem. That's because the arteries to the penis are really, really tiny. And so you may not manifest other issues like heart disease or high blood pressure or diabetes. You'll first see problems with your sexual function, and then you'll later develop other issues. So it can be like the first sign of something that's going wrong. And then the hormonal part, testosterone is absolutely, you need good testosterone levels to have good erections. And so just like women go through menopause, men also kind of go through andropause, if you want to say, like their testosterone slowly decreases over the course of their lifetime, and that can affect their sexual function and their desire, as you mentioned, and a whole host of other things like their cognitive, they can feel a little foggy in the brain, they can be harder to get muscle in the gym. And there's some data to suggest that it may also, help prevent heart disease with some testosterone supplementation.
Okay. I want to back up a little bit to physical versus mental causes, because most of our audience, I hope all of our audience is spread all over the age range, but they're probably not in their 70s. They're probably closer to 20s and 30s. So when somebody with a penis comes to you and says, I'm experiencing some type of erectile dysfunction, either I can't get hard or I stay hard and I can't climax, is there like some tests that you usually go through so that you can say, okay, this is definitely physical or this is definitely medical, like the stamp test?
No, so I don't really do any testing per se. You can do a penile Doppler ultrasound, which a lot of people who specifically focus on sexual function offer that, but ultimately it doesn't change the management. I usually just talk to the patient, right? Like, are you able to get nighttime erections? Are you able to masturbate and keep an erection during masturbation? What are you doing at home? Like, are you watching a lot of pornography? Are you, how often are you masturbating? And kind of really get a sense of what else is going on. And if they themselves feel some anxiety about performance. And then that tells me a little bit more about, what's going on with their sexual function. And is it more likely to be behavioral or psychological versus medical?
So I feel like most guys would know, like they know if they're getting hard and jerking off, they know, if, like they, I feel like it's probably pretty obvious to them.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend recently and she was saying to me that she's been with her partner for a long time and she feels like his dick just doesn't get as rock hard as it used to. And I was like, because he's just getting older. I think sometimes you're like, it's hard. We're having sex. It's going in and out, but it's not as like hard.
Some dicks get harder than others. I've experienced a range
she was
of
saying
hardness.
over time, like, as he's getting into his 40s and am I right that that's a thing?
Yeah,
it starts
absolutely.
getting less hard.
So the tissues again, it's all, so what happens when you have an erection, right, is the muscles relax and the blood flows into the penis, into the erectile bodies, very similar to a clitoris, right? The clitoris has erectile bodies, the exact same erectile bodies as the male penis. So blood flows into those areas and it gets engorged. And then the muscles are like not allowing this, because it's contracted, not allowing the blood flow to get out. And so it can depend on, like, again, if the blood flow over time, right, you're going to build up like maybe some little bit of plaque in your arteries or things like that. And that can reduce how much blood flow you're getting. And then, yes, over age, like this is happening over age, your arteries are just not as healthy as they used to be. So there's going to be less blood flow potentially. And then there's obviously variables like how excited they are will make a difference, how warm or cold the room is, like all those things will change how hard the penis is. It's a variation over time. It's not like every time it's going to be the same hardness.
And is that something that like a little bit of Cialis or whatever could fix? Like if a man and his partner, like, it'd be cool if you were like a little harder, like you used to be, you know, could that medication enhance that a little bit too?
So it certainly would. Would I recommend it off label for like just recreational use, right? If you're having good erections and you're having penetrative sex and you're enjoying sex, it's kind of a gray zone, right? Like, I think that it's probably fine to use. It's probably safe if you use a very low dose. It'd probably be safe. But like generally speaking, medically, it's recommended for people who are having issues getting and sustaining erections.
Okay. You don't want to take a little bump before, just to get like extra hard. Little bump. Okay. Sorry.
No, I've experienced two types of erectile dysfunction. I've experienced what you described as performance anxiety with a partner in the beginning. They can't really get hard. And eventually after they get a little comfortable with you, it's fine. It's like not a big, we're going every time. It's fine. I was with somebody for years. The first like 7 times we had sex, he couldn't get hard. I was like, oh my God, like this is like a lifetime of misery. And then we were fine. But the other thing I experienced that I don't really understand, and I would love you to explain it, is I had a sexual partner, and it was sort of recently, who like could get hard all the time and stay hard, and we could have sex a ton of times, but like never climaxed.
So generally speaking, when you think of ejaculation, it's what happens in your body is your brain gets some sort of stimulus. It sends signals down to your spine, which then tells your brain like, okay, with certain stimulus, you're going to ejaculate. When you're thinking about ejaculation, a lot of it is like a hormone balance. You've got excitatory things telling you to ejaculate and inhibitory things telling you not to ejaculate. So people who have delayed ejaculations because they're holding back, their inhibitory signals are higher than their excitatory signals. So it's just kind of like an imbalance. And so you can work on those. And some people may be trying to not ejaculate. Like there's a whole community of men who are really practicing to not ejaculate because they think it gives them better orgasms or whatever. So that may be part of it. That may be what that partner was all about.
Okay. I mean, my theory a little bit is that I think never really in history, except for men that are, I would say like 28 and younger, have been raised to be told that like it is your job to make sure that your partner climaxes. I don't know the men that are 35 and older since birth. It's been like, this is your job. You know, when I was having sex in my early 20s, I never had partners that cared if I climaxed or not. And hopefully I think via podcasts and your YouTube and things like that, people are being taught it is both persons. It's everybody's responsibility in this situation to make sure everybody climaxes. So it probably is a lot of pressure on people who are a little bit younger today to feel like they're going to make their partner climax, and maybe they're like holding back the orgasm for so long.
Yeah. I mean, I think, right, they get focused on trying to like edge or do these activities to help postpone ejaculation. And then it can become difficult, right? Your body gets used to a certain thing. And then, so if they're really trying to be like, I'm going to last forever, and they're pushing and pushing and their body keeps responding, then it can start becoming difficult to orgasm, or they get used to a certain type of stimulation. So perhaps that person was really into a certain type of masturbation that was really aggressive and really a certain position where he masturbated. And then it's hard for him to masturbate in any other position or ejaculate, in any other position.
What would that position be? Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so some guys will like only ejaculate lying flat on their back. Some guys do, which is I do not recommend, but they'll do like they're lying on their stomach and they're like humping the bed sort of thing, and that can actually create damage. So I don't really recommend it. But so then they get used to a certain thing, or they're very aggressive with their hands during masturbation, and then they're not getting that from you necessarily.
But I think that's a good tip if like your partner won't ejaculate, to say like, show me how you like to masturbate, and maybe you can like mimic it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the key, right? Communication. It's like totally important to tell your partner what you want and also to find out what they want and make sure that you're trying to make each other reach climax, or at least, and it's not always about climax, right? It's about the journey, the pleasure, like the whole experience should be pleasurable.
I feel like that's a interesting thing to tackle. A guy that's just been masturbating a certain way that can't seem to climax with a partner. Like, what do you say?
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Well, I mean, so I think as a woman, right, if you have a partner who you're struggling with, I mean, it's important to be very sensitive around talking about those things,
sure.
right? Like, you don't want to be like, ew, or like, you just kind of want to be like totally open, and then just say, hey, babe, like, why don't you try skipping that for a couple days before we have sex? And then let's see if that makes a difference, right? Like, just like that would really turn me on, or that would really make me happy. And just kind of making it really casual and not putting a lot of pressure on them.
Okay. I think it causes a lot of pressure on you as the partner, whether it's a man or a woman, to feel like this is my fault, you know? And I mean, especially like in my specific situation with this person, I mean, he could stay hard, he just couldn't climax. And so of course you sit there and you're like, if I was better at XYZ, maybe they could. And what is it about me? Are they not turned on? And of course, you know, I mean, you can debunk it, you know, is it my fault that somebody's not, you know, ejaculating?
No, not at all. Right. So like any problem in the bedroom, guys, any sexual performance problem is very likely not your fault, right? Like probably 99.9% of the time, not your fault, unless you're doing some crazy stuff, right? That like maybe is actually painful or whatever, or they're not into that, right? But like 99.9% of the time, it's not your fault. There's all these factors that go into erections, orgasm, and climax and ejaculation. And like, if one of those things doesn't work, there's just so many things that could be wrong. And it's not you. And if you start feeling bad about it, right? Like the best way to go about it is just so say, for example, someone has a problem in the bedroom and they lose their erection, like they can still orgasm even if they don't have an erection. So don't stop, like keep going, be intimate with them. It doesn't have to be penetrative sex, right? Sex encompasses so much more. So that'll make them feel like it's not a big deal. So if there is any psychological component, you're not adding to that. That's the only thing that can kind of get worse based on the partner's reaction.
Yeah. And we've talked about this with guys who have been really open with us on the show and just in conversation too. And I think that's such a great tip, is just do other stuff, and penetrative sex could still be on the table. Like I had sex with a guy earlier this year and I was like, this dick is never going to get hard. Like, this is crazy. There's no way. But I mean, I didn't express that. I'm thinking that in my head of just like, oh my gosh, it's been, you know, we've been putting all this time and effort and we just were doing other stuff, a lot of foreplay, a lot of other things. I was really turned on by him. I was into it. You know, it wasn't just like, I have to be penetrated by this guy or nothing. And it was shocking to me to the point that he got so hard and we had a great sex, you know, from going from something, a penis that I was like, there's no way, but it's true. Like so I think sometimes a woman, for example, could get really frustrated, and like the worst thing you can do is A, get frustrated, but B, express that to the partner. You're just doubling down on what's already making them not be able to get hard in the first place, and just do other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can bring toys to the bedroom, right? Like say like they're not feeling so great. They may get turned on by you stimulating yourself, like whatever. Yeah. Like being open and doing other things is going to be great for your relationship.
Yeah. Oh, I love that idea that like if somebody can't necessarily get hard or maintain an erection, that you would put on a little show for them.
But not like, you can't do it, I'm going to do it myself, but just in
That's
general.
usually not the route I take.
No, I'm not saying, I'm just not you, but I'm saying
you're
like,
going to watch me do what you can't do to me.
Yeah. But no, that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Just grab a show.
Yeah. Just grab a toy. Do you have any other tips? I mean, I like the, you know, don't freak out, don't put it on them. Because I mean, also you mentioned that like next time they're going to have performance anxiety as well.
Right. You're just making it worse for the future.
Yeah. And for the next girl. No, I'm just kidding. Any other tips into like what to do with your partner?
You know, to have conversations about sex, not during sex, right? Like when you're in the passionate moment and you're like trying to be intimate, like it's probably not the right time to be like, babe, I really don't like it when you do XYZ, or I really would like it. Like, yes, you can put it in there. Like, I really like it when you do this, which is not penetrative, right? To make them feel good and give them them something to do. But then if you really want to talk about something that's bothering you and you're just not sure how to bring it up, wait until it's far away from the sexual encounter and bring it up like very casually, you know, not accusatory and not victimizing yourself.
It's one of the best tips I've ever gotten on this podcast. We had Emily Morris on this show, Dr. Emily Morris, a couple years ago, and we were talking about when to bring up things that you like want to do in bed. And I was like, I have an idea. You're both laying in bed naked. It's right after sex. And she was like, that's the worst thing you can do. And things about what you like sexually, I found that to be like a really good tip, that it's a little more casual. It's not this like sit down, serious conversation, time to pour a drink. Let's saddle up for like the meeting kind of conversation.
Should we talk about porn?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
So what are you seeing in terms of like, is porn addiction a thing? How is it affecting people's erectile dysfunction?
Absolutely. So porn addiction is a real thing, although we don't know the exact numbers, right? There's no good data on how common it is. I think the last data I saw was like 4%. So it's not huge, but I think it's probably more and more. It seems low.
Well, right? Like how do you measure it, right? Like what's porn addiction?
Right. Yeah. Like the studies will like interview people, right? Or survey people. And then in that study, they saw 4%, but whatever. So I think ultimately it's a real problem because now porn is everywhere, right? It's on your phone, it's on your computer. Like you can access it anywhere.
Twitter,
I saw some guy jerking off on Twitter yesterday. It was crazy.
Which you're not supposed to. Like we were looking for something else on Twitter and Rena was like, look at this, just full porn.
Well, Ashley and I also own an erotic content app. So it's literally everywhere.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So it's everywhere. And so people are it's a great dopamine rush, right? So people get really, when you think about any sort of addiction, it's all like the dopamine system, right? So you get dopamine with whatever activity you're getting. Your brain's like, oh, I like that. You build pathways that say, hey, I want more of that. But you need more and more like novel and more like kind of wild experiences to get the same dopamine rush. So this is what happens to people who have an addiction. It's not because they're like bad people. It's like their brains get wired to need this to achieve the same happiness, satisfaction, joy, whatever, right? And so they start watching porn like excessively, where they're like choosing to not do other activities. Like, oh, I'd rather watch porn than go have sex with my person, right? Or I'd rather watch porn than go out to dinner with my friends, or I'd rather watch porn than go to work, right? That's when it becomes a real problem. And then also, it alters the way you perceive sex, right? Because a lot of porn is not ethical and they're using excessive force or things that are not really actually desirable to women in porn, which can be bad. And then there's also this thing where you're watching porn and you're expecting like immediate pleasure when you're in a real relationship. Like you start having sex and the woman should climax within minutes, right? That's not realistic. And so then that doesn't happen. And they're like, oh, what's wrong with me? Right. And then, oh, this guy has like a 10-foot penis and mine is a normal size 5-inch penis. And oh, I'm not big enough. There's something wrong with me. And so there's just definitely a problem in people. And I think that it's good to recognize it. And then there are, certain things out there that you can do to try to help yourself. Like you can go see a therapist to talk about porn addiction. There are online apps that can like block porn from your phone and things like that if you're finding yourself in that situation.
It's interesting because it's this thing that I'm trying to compare it to other things that would give you a dopamine or serotonin hit or rush. It seems like porn is one of those things you keep having to do more, like it's not just like a nice glass of wine or whatever that you're like, I had one, now I have to have 7. Like it does feel like porn is this thing that you're like, I need the next level of it. It just keeps escalating. So I can see where that obviously becomes an issue. I mean, I wonder how people are moderating. Like, are they like, I'm going to treat myself a little porn, like, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like is moderation a thing? I mean, what do you tell someone that's like, I'm addicted to porn?
Yeah. So I think it just depends on the approach you take. I think generally speaking, most people will, if they realize that it's affecting their day-to-day activities, like they can't do their normal functioning things, then they have to just stop. Right.
Yes.
But if it's like, I think I'm getting there, right? I might be watching it too much. Like you can self-moderate. Again, everyone's different. It's variable person to person. But as far as your comment on it being like needing more and more, it's because like sex, right, is a biologic need, right, to perpetuate our species. So is like food. So you'll see people who have problems with obesity will eat, but they'll need to eat more to feel that same. Like people who eat for emotions will find themselves binge eating, right, because they need more and more food to feel that same dopamine surge. It's the same thing. You need sex. People who are sex addicted or porn addicted, they're like, oh, this is triggering that same thing in my brain that sex would, which is necessary for our species to have sex and have babies.
And I guess, I mean, we're talking about people that have more of that personality type. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a majority of people that just watch porn regularly. Like they're like, yeah, I like what I like. I get off with this. I don't need to like take it to the next level. I had a nice orgasm. I'm going to put this on. It doesn't need to be constantly building blocks on top of the other to get to like the wildest top tier, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, probably the majority of people watching porn are just normal
porn watchers.
Watch it for enjoyment, right? But there is this small, like that's, I don't want to make a big deal of it. You shouldn't be shamed for watching porn. Like that's fine. If you enjoy it, it's not affecting your life in any way and you're giving you pleasure, it's fine.
I mean, I like porn. So as somebody who really enjoys it, I mean, I don't really have what I would call an addictive personality, but my tip would be to vary the different ways that you masturbate. So every week is completely different. I have weeks where I'll masturbate every day and then I'll go 2 weeks and not do it. But if maybe 4 times I masturbate a week, maybe twice I'll use porn, if not just once. And I like to make sure that like I'm using my own thoughts, I'm using my hand or a toy. And if you vary, which is another psychotherapist said this on our show as well, if you vary the types of stimulation that you have throughout the week to your body, that it will be easier to climax with a partner also as well.
Exactly. 100%. Because, your body can habituate.
I mean, you do see how it could happen in terms of like the stimulation in your brain needing more and more. And most of my life, I've liked lesbian porn. And I think something I really like about it is I have felt sometimes that male on female porn is sort of violent. And the way that men come all over you and the size of their penis and the fast quickness with which they fuck you, it all feels very violent. And so women on women has always felt less violent to me. And I can see how if somebody's watching male on female porn and it's just so aggressive that just sort of like depletes your ability to like get off from normal sex because it's so crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what these young guys are bringing to the bedroom, right? Because they grew up watching porn easily accessible, right? Kids are seeing porn as early as like age 10. Mm-hmm. And so like they grew up watching this violent type porn, then they go to have sex with their first partner and they like, that's how they want to have sex because that's what they've seen. So
that was in that, I didn't watch that many episodes of Euphoria, but that was in one of the very first episodes that like, that guy, he just went in so hard and aggressive. And she was like, I think, wasn't it Sydney Sweeney? And she was like, what the fuck? And it was like, well, that's what you thought you're supposed to do. I mean, it's wild. I mean, our age group, like elder millennial, didn't have that type of access at all. Like, guys, when I was in middle school, even high school, we're trying to catch a blurry titty on Cinemax, so it's just now the younger generation, they have it in their pocket all the time. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't even know what Billie Eilish talks about this, seeing porn as a kid. Like, I don't even know what it would have done to me. Like, I don't even know the first time I was well as an adult.
Do you remember? I was in high school. I was at a friend's house. We were 16 and my friend was like he was using his parents' computer and like their credit card to log in. I mean, I was a lot older.
Yeah. I mean, I was like,
it was like VHS. I mean, you had to like find a video and put it in a VHS player and like find a TV that was not in use. Like there was like all these steps, right?
Or it was like a sex tape. Like it wasn't so aggressive, like really aggressive, violent porn as a 10-year-old is really sad to me. I can't imagine the damage. And I think that is really commonplace.
And when I say violent, I don't even mean just like physical violence. I just mean I feel that some porn just that's why looks kind of violent. Yeah. Just rip her pants off and shove your hard cock in there and just start pounding away.
I've never been into it. And I think we've obviously come a long way. I mean, we had Erica Lust on our show and we've discussed ethical porn and various things like that. And obviously we created an app that is not visual, but it is audio. And I feel like that's why I've never really been into it. But I mean, again, I just can't reiterate enough, like the psychological damage that it must do.
So if any parents are listening, I strongly encourage you to talk to your kids about it, but not in a non-threatening way, but like actually explain to them like that, they're probably going to watch it. They're going to see it, right? You can try to tell them not to, but realistically, you can't control every person they come in contact with who has a device or their own devices. I mean, yes, you can try, but it's important to talk about how this is not normal and this doesn't depict normal sex. And I know it's a hard conversation to have with your kids. I've actually made a video about like how to, what are some tips to like help you have that conversation, because I think it is really important.
Yeah, I think that making it forbidden it makes it even more attractive to a kid. But but that conversation is so important that this is not accurate literally at all. Like, I feel like they should be having these conversations in schools and sex education. Like that should be like the top
100%.
thing that's being discussed. But
Yeah,
that's a whole
it's
nother
not.
topic
It's like how to put a condom on. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, you kind of answered this. I would love for you to maybe if you have anything else to say, like the ED issues I've experienced with men are with men that were like 26 years old. It wasn't with anybody that was in their mid 30s. The issues I was experiencing were with guys that were significantly younger than I am. So are you seeing this like explode upon the population? No pun intended. But like how much more common is this to you today than it was 10 years ago in terms of like ED caused by either porn addiction or, performance anxiety or whatever?
It's definitely more common. I mean, I can't give you like I said, the numbers are, the studies are not great on it, but I will say that, yes, it's definitely more common because it's just so much more readily available. I mean, I think also like relationships are on the decline because people are just looking at devices and not knowing how to communicate. And so sex is part of that, right? Like you're not having a real meaningful connection with anybody because you're too busy looking at devices or not really learning how to connect. There's a whole process that we went through as young kids, right? Because we had to learn how to talk to somebody and flirt with somebody and not just like swipe right on an app.
Call their house, ask their parents. Like kids, guys our age had to call a landline and your dad could answer and you would have to be like, is Rena there? And like, it's insane. Like just a different world.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could talk about it forever. That's why, I'm trying to find a zaddy in his 40s.
No, I just, like I find it fascinating because like I have not fucked a bunch of young guys and recently I have. And I've never experienced this in my life with men that are in their mid 30s. It's happening a lot.
Well, and also, I mean, just in general, anxiety is like the younger generation has so much anxiety and I understand why.
I mean, think about looking on Instagram, right? It's like 1 minute, like, oh, this person has a beautiful life. This person has this like amazing vacation. I'm sitting here in my bedroom, like scrolling on Instagram,
I mean, there's
right?
And so many different reasons, even just like they were born into a different world. So it's like, of course, if younger people are just generally have more anxiety, that's going to come into the bedroom as well.
Oh my God, of course. When I was in college, I never had to worry that after I slept with somebody, a person had a megaphone to the entire world about what my body looked like, what I looked like, what I was like sexually. I didn't have to worry about those things. I'm so old, just like really dating myself. But yeah, I mean, I want to give credit to the fact that like, it's a different world and there's probably a lot more anxiety.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you see in terms of like patients coming to you to talk about ED mentally or physically that's super common or that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are frustrated because particularly as they age and they're with their partners for a long period of time, like how they're like, I want to have sex so many times that she doesn't want to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a lot of this and like realizing that like when you're younger, it's so normal to be like, I see you, you're hot. I want to fuck you. And you just do it.
Yeah.
And you're like super excited. But as like life hits you, right, you've got responsibilities, you may have kids, you may have other stuff. Like it's just not there. And that's normal. That's not something wrong with you. You need to actually like lie together, be naked together, like actually touch each other, like maybe get that desire. It's called responsive desire, right? And to like really just like, okay, that's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. It's still great. And you probably can even have better sex because you know each other, you know what you like. And people are more vocal about what they like as they age because they know more. In fact, when you look at studies, people who are older have better sex than people who are younger because of that.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's important to know. Like, it's not always normal to just like see each other and go bananas and like have sex.
A spontaneous desire when you see someone and just want to fuck them right there. And I think it's hard to grasp when that fades, but it's just putting work into it and knowing that it's normal too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do people come to you medically about that? Do they say like, I feel like there's something wrong with me physically because I don't want to sleep with my partner as much as I used to?
Yeah, they're worried about their like for men, it's like their testosterone and and for women, there's just so many things, right? That can be medically, like it's simple as like adding lube to the equation or like having more time for foreplay to make sex more pleasurable for them. But I think with women, they don't come in as much, but they'll be like complaining like, oh, sex has always been painful, or I've never had an orgasm. I've seen this, like, this is more on my social media that I hear about this. I've never had an orgasm, which is like so sad. And like, they didn't even know, they never explored or tried to or understood their bodies well enough to have an orgasm. And so those are kind of things I see more, not in my practice, because I don't think women really talk about it very much with their doctors.
Okay. So I think I just want to make sure people kind of leave this episode with like actionable items. I mean, I think if it's like medical ED, it's like talk to your doctor, obviously. If it's mental, emotional, we talked about different ways to react and things to do in the bedroom. We discussed not being able to ejaculate, but I don't think we really discussed premature ejaculation. I mean, if that is a chronic occurrence in your relationship and it's really frustrating, what can we do there?
Yeah, so there's a few things you can do. So one is you can buy like over-the-counter delay sprays. And so those actually do work. You want to look for delay sprays that kind of are quickly absorbed into the skin so that your partner doesn't transfer it to your vagina during sex, right? And those tend to work quite well because one of the theories is that the sensitivity of the glands or the head of the penis is why you get premature ejaculation. So you can buy those, or you can get a prescription from your doctor for kind of an anesthetic cream that you can put on the penis as well. So those are options. And then there's also, you can do like stop-start techniques. So there's, you kind of have sex, you get to the point of orgasm, and then your partner kind of squeezes the penis, you wait, and then you resume, and you do that 3 times. And then finally, the last time you let yourself ejaculate, and then work your way up to the point where you want to get there. And then the other things are, there are a couple off-label medications you can try, so you can see your doctor to talk about those.
Okay. You had a video on your Instagram or on your YouTube, but I did not watch it because I wanted to ask you on the show. But in terms of like premature ejaculation or not being able to climax, one of your videos said, how long should we be having sex? How long should a sexual encounter take? So I didn't watch your video because I wanted to hear your answer, but how long should we be having sex for before we expect to climax?
Well, so should is a very,
I can't say that. It depends on the time of day for me, actually.
And it depends on what you define sex as. So in these studies, sex was defined as penetrative. So from the beginning of penetration to the end of penetration. And so the average duration was somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what country you're from and all this sort of stuff. So that's what is the true average. Some people are like, I need to last longer. And some people will be like, I had a patient the other day, like a few months ago, who was like, my wife wants me to last longer. And I'm like, how long do you last? He's like 15 minutes. I said, that is plenty.
Being penetrated for 15 minutes? It's a Peloton class.
That's the longest I ever want to have penetrative sex.
I do actually want to time this because I feel like you don't really have a grasp of time.
10 minutes for me to be on top, get off,
you're moving around,
over, finish.
If you're doing 3 positions, 3 to 4 minutes each.
15
so then we're
max.
9 to 12.
Yeah. That 12 is my sweet. So anything more than 12 is you're just showing off. 15 is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think the other thing about it, right, is like not all women climax from penetrative sex. So like it's, it's not like, okay, if she wants more, like how about you do some oral or something else, stimulate her clitoris or do something else, right? There's other ways to have pleasure that doesn't include penetration. For sure. We've talked about that already, but
no, we could do a whole other episode with you about why people don't climax. And
I know
other ways to
pain
climax.
during sex. I feel like people probably heard you say that. I'm like, what? I want to talk about that. So we definitely want to cover that. I had sex with a guy on vacation we just went on, and it was so funny because I could tell that he wanted me to come, and when I told him like I wanted him to come, it was immediate. I was like, coming on demand, immediate. I was just like, he's just been waiting for the green light.
Beg for the come. Ashley, why do you think I do it? It's it's an automatic launch button.
Like I pushed a button, and I just found that nice.
It's sexy.
He was waiting. Yeah. And I was
it.
like, oh, it's that easy. It's so nice. I like that you asked that question. How long should we have in sex?
Well, you talked about people who can't have orgasms, which I could talk about for 3 hours. I really could. I think it's fascinating. Or people that can't have penetrative orgasms, which I can't relate.
Depending on the way you define penetrative orgasms, somewhere between 4 to 14% of people have penetrative orgasms. So it's like, you're like one of the very few.
4 to 14. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You do. You have an orgasm during sex.
Yeah, but it's because of clitoral stimulation. I've always said that.
Yeah, but your clitoris is like the nerve endings, just correct me if I'm wrong, go like all around the hole, right? It's not just the little bud. It's like your clitoris is all around the hole. So
yeah, but just from being like penetrated, no, not really. And not a lot. I mean, every once in a while, but I mean, I think that's how most women feel.
Yeah.
Like it's something else going on during sexual experience.
It's usually like from pressure onto the clit. Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
So yeah, when I say I have penetrative orgasms, that's what I mean, probably. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Are you seeing a lot of couples or people in general overcome this with the problems that they're seeing with different techniques in the bedrooms, medicines, things like that? Like we want to give people hope that it's not just like.
Absolutely. And I think ultimately if you like have a problem, the one thing about our generation and younger generations, like people are willing to like be more open, talk about these things. And that's so great, right? Like keep doing that and things will get better, right? Psychogenic ED is completely treatable, right? So you can get better. And even medical ED, like you can get better. You can live a very fulfilling sex life. And I would tell everyone who's listening, like the key to having a long, sustainable sex life is keeping your health overall good, right? Keep yourself away from getting high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes. So eat well, exercise well, and just like overall, all those things are going to mean you're going to have a better sex life.
One thing I didn't bring up that I did deal with a partner that his Adderall medication affected his erection. So do you see that a lot, or just other, like what are other medications that might be affecting sexual performance?
Absolutely. So very commonly is antidepressant medications or antipsychotic medications, very, very common. Antihypertensive medications, but those are kind of tough, right? Because you want to control your blood pressure, but some of them do have the side effect of causing sexual dysfunction. And then for guys, if they're taking finasteride for hair loss, like Propecia, that actually has some sexual side effects too. So something to consider, like that's probably not a good idea if you're having trouble in the bedroom. So those are the most common for men. For women, I would say same is as antidepressants and antipsychotics, but also some women experience some sexual dysfunction with oral contraceptives or like hormonal contraceptives.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we did a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
Like how it affects your even libido and birth control and stuff like that. Because being a woman is just always just a fun bag of tricks.
But I like the positivity of, I will say, probably with people that are a little bit older that I've dated, if this would have happened, it would not have been a conversation and it's not this open, honest thing. But now today, I think it's so much more normal to like talk to your partner. And the person that I had this issue with was like, yeah, I have dick problems. Like it was this open, honest thing. It wasn't this like, let me get mad and aggressive kind of thing. So it is nice, at least we're norming talking.
Yeah. Like stuff. It's like the 7-year-old man's not going to want to have this. He's going to be like stubborn and like, it is what it is. So it's positive for sure.
I told my dad, being a 7-year-old man, I told my dad we were doing this episode. He always wants to know everything we're doing on the show. And I was like, we have this doctor, she's gonna talk about ED. And my dad was like, it gets worse as you get older. And I was like, please don't finish this sentence. And he was like, but you can just take Viagra. And I was like, no, please stop. Anyways.
Okay.
Well, thank you for being here. This was really fantastic. We could keep you here with so many more questions, but we won't. But your YouTube is such a wealth of information. So just tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on anywhere online. Type in Rena Malik MD, RenaMalik, and my YouTube is Rena Malik MD, and that's my handle for every social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. It's all there.
Amazing.
Okay, thank you so much. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was such an honor.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
And you guys can find all of our stuff at, I'm trying to do this order Raina told me, vibesonly.com. to get vibrators, blow gel, whatever you want. Download the Vibes Only app on the App Store, and then Vibes Only on Instagram and on Twitter. girlsgottaeatpodcast.com for everything you need to know about the podcast. Girls Gotta Eat Podcast on Instagram. I am Ash Hess on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, which I plugged heavily today. Raina is Raina.Greenberg. We are girls_gotta eat on Twitter, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.